ladies and gentlemen. I'm Brett Haber from Tennis Channel, and it is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome you to the 2015 Rolex International Tennis Hall of Fame Weekend's Enshrinement Ceremony here in beautiful Newport, Rhode Island. The honor of enshrinement into these hallowed halls is presented in recognition of the accomplishments by either a player on the court or a contributor to the sport whose dedication and achievements have made a transcendent difference in the growth of the sport of tennis. Enshrinement into the International Tennis Hall of Fame is the highest honor given in our sport. Since 1954, this honor has been presented to just 243 individuals from just 21 nations. In 1881, this Newport casino hosted the first United States National Tennis Championships, now known, of course, as the U.S. Open. In 1954, Jimmy and Candy Van Allen secured the sanctioning of this beautiful facility by the USTA as the National Lawn Tennis Hall of Fame. In 1975, individuals from the worldwide tennis community became eligible for enshrinement into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Today, we will honor several individuals with this highest honor, two extraordinary players and one equally extraordinary contributor who exemplify the greatest traditions of our sport: perseverance, integrity, passion, athleticism, and sportsmanship. Their accomplishments, both on and off the tennis court, are the reason that we are here and the reason the Hall of Fame exists and thrives as a living monument to those who have authored the history of this most beautiful sport. Very shortly, these three individuals will become Hall of Famers officially, a title bestowed on only the very best and the very few. Now, there are some very special guests seated here on the Bill Talbert Center Court who've come back to Newport to help us salute the 2015 enshrinement class, many of them distinguished members of the Hall of Fame. And so as I introduce them, won't you help me in welcoming them back to their home away from home here at the Hall of Fame. And we will begin with a woman who is not just a tennis legend, not just a sporting legend, but an American legend. She holds 39 Grand Slam titles, 12 singles, 16 doubles, 11 in mixed. She won 129 singles titles in all, 4 Fed Cups as a player, 4 more as the United States captain. Her role as a pioneer for equality, fair play, and justice has made her one of America's most influential figures in any field over the past half century. Won't you please welcome back to Newport from the class of 1987, the great Billie Jean King. Continuing with our Hall of Famers, he is the pioneering founder of wheelchair tennis as an internationally recognized sport, a 3-time Grand Slam champion, world number 1, and gold medalist at the 1992 Paralympics in Barcelona from the class of 2010, Brad Parks. He was a star at UCLA, the U.S. number 1 in 1967, one of the founding members of the ATP and the founder of the world-class tournament that we all enjoy in Indian Wells, California, from the class of 2013, Charlie Passarelle. He was a 3-time All-American at Yale, a U.S. Davis Cup player and captain. He helped establish the ATP and revolutionize the way athletes conduct business. He is the vice chairman of the Hall of Fame and a member of the class of 2009, Donald Dell. She won 17 major doubles titles and 2 Olympic gold medals, one in '92, another in '96. She won 69 career doubles titles and held the number 1 ranking in the world from the class of 2010, Gigi Fernandez. She has dedicated her life to promoting this sport. She was the chairman and president of the USTA, managing director of the WTA board, and the president of this International Tennis Hall of Fame. From last year's induction class, welcome home Jane Brown Grimes. This Aussie won 11 mixed doubles major crowns, including the mixed slam in 1967 from the class of 2010, Owen Davidson. She won 21 Grand Slam doubles titles to go with 21 tour-level singles titles in the U.S. Open final in 1978 from the class of 2002, Pam Shriver. She was the inaugural leader of the WTA and one of the most influential administrators in women's tennis history from the class of 2011, Peachy Kellmeyer. She is a five-time Wimbledon doubles champion, twice a singles finalist, and one of our sports trailblazers in the areas of gender equity and open tennis from the class of 1994, Rosie Casals. And finally, celebrating the 61st anniversary of his championship sweep at the 1954 U.S. Nationals. He was also the Wimbledon champion in 1953, a five-time Grand Slam doubles winner, and both a star player and captain for the United States Davis Cup team from the class of 1971, the great Vic Seixas. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for all of our returning Hall of Famers. Somehow, we have forgotten the president of the Hall of Fame, a U.S. Open champion, an American legend, a Davis Cup winner, captain, Olympic coach, and our leader of this illustrious institution. How about it for Stan Smith? I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the families and special friends of the class of 2015. Throughout the years, they have supported and encouraged the tennis dreams that have brought our class members to this stage. I would like to ask the families and special friends of our class to please stand up so that we might recognize and thank all of you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my sincere pleasure to welcome to the podium the chairman of the board of the International Tennis Hall of Fame. For the past 10 years, this man has served the Hall of Fame with distinction and honor. He is a tireless promoter of this beautiful campus and the mission of preserving tennis history, inspiring juniors, and celebrating the legends of tennis. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome my friend and a friend to everyone in tennis, chairman of the International Tennis Hall of Fame, Christopher E. Klauser.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I want to thank Brett for being our MC, but he's doing a number of things for the Hall of Fame, which we appreciate. Before we begin today, I'd like to recognize a very important group to this International Tennis Hall of Fame. These individuals are actually the backbone of our organization, and they give so much in so many ways, largely without being asked, and they are just terrific people. They made this the one and only International Tennis Hall of Fame, and it has grown into a marvelous institution because of them. Their dedication to the preservation and history of the sport of tennis and to its greatest champions and contributors is unparalleled. The Hall of Fame has grown and flourished because of this commitment and guidance in partnership with Rhode Island, the City of Newport, the Hall of Fame staff, the ATP, Mark Young is represented here, the WTA with Peachy and Stacey Allister, the ITF, the USTA, and the other Grand Slams. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing and thanking this incredible Executive Committee and Board of Directors of the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Would you please stand? This institution benefited greatly for over 30 years, being led by Mark Stenning. A little over a year ago, you probably heard the former world number 4 tennis player, head of the Players Council, and one of the most respected people on the tour, became the CEO. His wife Amy's children Jack, Cash, and Gwen are here. They are Newport residents. Please welcome the CEO of the International Tennis Hall of Fame, Mr. Todd Martin. I think it's only appropriate to acknowledge Grand Slam champions. We have a new director of tennis. He was the 1980 Wimbledon mixed doubles champion with somebody else by the name of Austin. Please welcome John Austin. John? Then there's a wonderful champion who happened to be the 2013 Wimbledon singles champion. We are delighted here to have we're delighted to hear today to have Marion Bartoli. Please stand up, Marion. A journalist, a friend, one of the great people in the game of tennis, the 1989 French Open doubles champion, Patrick McEnroe. Before I begin, just a moment, please. We, for the last 3 years, led by Ed Woolard, we have been about the business of raising money for the International Tennis Hall of Fame. I'm pleased to tell you $14.9 million of the $15 million has been raised, and you see over here on this area over there, because of the executive committee and others, there is a new tennis building, which was dedicated this morning. It's called the Von Osberg Tennis Building with three new indoor courts. Next to it in September will be a groundbreaking. We will be opening, if I may, the new administration building, which is the Browman over there. Next winter, all you in the south stands over there will enjoy next year permanent, brand new seating. It's the Tom and Mary James stands, and this will be completely redone. Behind me, in the west stands, these will completely be redone. Yeah, go ahead and clap. Lady Marion Weatherstone has contributed, and all these stands will be redone, and then in the brand new entrance to the Hall of Fame, which will be ready for the tournament next year. I want to thank a ton of contributors. Over 150 people have contributed their money. They have been terrific partners in the city of Newport and the state of Rhode Island. And I can't thank you enough for all those contributions. It's been a terrific campaign. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Ed Woolard, the chairman, please. For over 60 years, the International Tennis Hall of Fame has preserved the history of this sport and every day continues to honor the legacies of individuals who embody its most important traditions. Over the past few years, we've honored Hall of Famers from around the world with a gold ring to commemorate their induction. Today, as Brett said, we are absolutely thrilled to present one of the true legends of the sport, her ring. She's made a valiant effort to be here today. It's right in the middle of World Team Tennis schedule. She came in and she asked to go out, but she made a point to say, I'll do this for the Hall of Fame, of which we're always grateful. 39-time major tournament champion, one of the most impactful leaders on and off the tennis court in the world. To honor both Billie Jean and this year's inductees from the United States of America, Nancy Jeffett, Billie Jean King, would you please rise for the Star-Spangled Banner?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket
Please be seated. To help us in our presentation today, I'm very pleased to have two of Billie Jean King's very favorite people, and by the way, world champion tennis partners with whom she captured 16 doubles and mixed doubles titles. Please welcome Hall of Famers Rosie Casals and Owen Davidson. Please join me at the podium. Ladies first. Ladies first.
Thank you, Chris. I put my glasses on because nowadays we've gotten to that stage where we need glasses and notes to remember what we have to say. But anyway, it's always nice to be here in Newport, the Hall of Fame weekend, and to be able to honor my dear friend Billie Jean, since I wasn't here in 1987 when she was inducted. I am proud to be a part of today's ceremonies, along with her other partner and Hall of Famer, Owen Dabo Davidson, and to say a few words about my favorite doubles partner and friend, Billie Jean. You are someone who has been and is special in my life, and for sure to many others as well. We first met when I was about 13 years old and played doubles against you and Carol Codwell Graebner at the Berkeley Tennis Club during the Pacific Coast Tournament. My partner, Glow, and I lost to you in 2 close sets and gave you a run for your money. Little did I know then that I would be winning Wimbledon with you as my partner. Somewhere around that time, I tagged you with the nickname of Old Lady, and now we are. We shared some wonderful times together on and off the court, fighting for equal prize money and recognition for women's tennis, establishing the Virginia Slims Tour and the Women's Tennis Association in 1973. We were in our prime, and they were exciting times to share with you. But most importantly, I'm happy that we were able to share a special friendship that has remained constant and has endured the passing of time. Those who have come to know you value that friendship as I do. You have made a difference in the lives you've touched and the things you've done. I am one of those recipients. That's the person I would like people to know and to share with everybody, to celebrate in addition to all of your accomplishments, your tennis career, and as an advocate for women and social change. They say friends are like stars. You may not see them all the time, but they're always there. To a very special friend and star, congratulations on receiving your beautiful Hall of Fame ring. And now, Chris, oh, no, sorry, Dave. Well, that was on my skip, Chris.
Oh. Thank you. Thanks, Rosie. First of all, congratulations to the 2015 class. I want to tell Billie that this is a huge honor for me and Rosie, I'm sure, to be invited to come and be present when she gets her ring. Nobody in the world, man or woman, deserves a Hall of Fame ring more than Billie Jean. If in my lifetime, if Jimmy Van Allen was the founder of this wonderful Hall of Fame, and a gentleman by the name of Herman David, who you may not know, some will know, was the chairman of the All England Club when I was the tennis director there, and he alone just about initiated open tennis in 1968. As great as their feats were, and as big an effort as they put into improving the game, I don't think anybody did as much for the game and outside the game. And as Billie Jean can be considered the mother of all tennis, and not just women's tennis, but men's tennis. None of us would be here today, I don't believe, without the contribution that Billie Jean made. So, and I know she did make a big effort to come here today. It wasn't easy with team tennis going on, and I think we all should be very appreciative. I hope we are, Billie. I'll just finish. I'll tell a quick Billie Jean story. She probably doesn't remember it. I think it was in 1973. I'm not really sure of my dates these days. We were playing mixed at Wimbledon, and in those days, Wimbledon was not played on the Sunday. It finished on the Saturday. And it was extremely wet Wimbledon. And when they have a wet Wimbledon, when they had a wet Wimbledon in those days, and obviously didn't have a roof, mixed doubles was kind of pushed to the back of the schedule, as it probably should be. And I don't think we even played our first match till sometime early in the second week, let alone the first week. And we played a couple of matches, and Billie was playing in the singles and the doubles with Rosie. She won both. The finals were played on the Saturday with no tennis to be played on the Sunday. Billie won the singles and on the Saturday afternoon. Then she won the doubles with Rosie on the Saturday afternoon. And it was about 7 o'clock at night, and I was in the Wimbledon men's locker room. Obviously on the finals day, there was nobody else there. Everybody else was gone except the locker attendant and me. And I was waiting for the call at 7 o'clock to say that thanks, but Billie has won the singles and won the doubles and is very tired, and we will probably have to withdraw from the mixed. And I was quite prepared to do that and ready to do it. Instead, I just heard her say, "Are you kidding?" So sure enough, I got a call from the referee's office, and he was yelling at me down the phone that Billie was waiting on court number 1 to play the quarterfinals of the mixed. And in the quarterfinals of the mixed, we had to play Jan Kotis, who at the time was a Wimbledon champion, and a young Martina Navratilova, who later on became Martina Navratilova. Billie knew a lot about Martina. I didn't know much. Anyway, to make a long story short, Billie won that match. And so the next day, Wimbledon opened up the club on the Sunday to the fans at no charge, and we started our semi-final match at 12 noon, which she won again. And we took a little rest, and we played the final, and the crowd appreciated it, and she won the final. So I think that tells you a little bit about Billie Jean King, and I doubt very seriously if you'd find too many of the players of today who would do the same thing. I believe not that long ago, Steffi Graf didn't exactly do that to your brother, Patrick. I think she withdrew from the mixed, I think. But that's a typical Billie Jean story, and it's one that I like to tell. As she said, there was no way she was going to withdraw. They would have had to stop her from playing. And Billie, you've been a fantastic friend and a great supporter. And as I say, nobody deserves to wear a Hall of Fame ring more than Billie Jean. So we really appreciate Billie, and I appreciate it.
They were just reliving the match here for a minute. Okay. We've asked a dear friend of Billie Jean King to come up with Todd Martin, Mrs. Peggy Woolard, who has had more to do with the museum over there, both old and new, than probably anybody in this organization. Peggy, you have a ring. Billie Jean, on behalf of the International Tennis Hall of Fame, the Board of Directors, and Executive Committee, it is my honor to present you your commemorative Hall of Fame ring signifying your induction as one of the finest Hall of Famers we have in this museum. Congratulations.
That's beautiful. Right now, that'll work. Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you, Peggy. Yes, indeed. It's great.
This is great.
Congratulations.
Wow. This is wonderful to be here and share this moment with all of you here in TV land. And also to Rosie and Davo, you can see why I was the smartest player ever, because I always chose I got the best doubles players to play with me. They always made me look really good. And Davo's story, we were trying to figure out, was it true or not? It was true. It was in 24 hours I had to play those 5 matches or whatever. And we also just, before Wimbledon, had formed the Women's Tennis Association, which took many years to happen, and a lot of effort from Rosie and other players to lobby and get all of the top players on the same page and form our association, just like the men had done in 1972. Although I wanted us to be together, and the men did not want us, so we went off to Plan B. But we've both survived and flourished, but it was very tumultuous times, very scary times, and I can say, as one of the leaders, it was a very, sometimes very lonely time, very difficult, but I knew it was worth it, because I could envision the future that for the WTA, that any girl that was born in this world, if she were good enough, she'd have a place to compete. She would be recognized and appreciated, and we'd be able to make a living. And when you come from the amateur days of making $14 a day, I think you all can appreciate making a living was very important to us, to be able to do what we passionately loved and still make a living. So that was our dream for the WTA, and I think that goal has been accomplished so far. And women's tennis is the #1 women's sports in the world. Go ahead. You're going to ask me questions or something?
I think I will.
Or are we behind?
No, all right.
So, Billie Jean, you are celebrating, and everybody's celebrating, the 40th anniversary this year of World Team Tennis. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have a large contingent of younger players this year, kind of the emerging future tennis stars. Can you tell us about World Team a little bit?
Well, it is our 40th anniversary, and we're really lucky because there's only 4 other leagues that have made it to 40, and I think you know which ones they are. They're the biggies. We're the little guys on the block, but we've now joined baseball, football, hockey, and basketball, and I'm really proud of that for our sport. One thing I always talk about is developing your game. One of the things that happens to young players is they get caught up in getting points and money instead of, if they get better and develop their game, all the other 2 will fall into place. One thing about Milan World Team Tennis is that you have to play every night. Whether you win or lose the night before, just like every team sport, you have to go back and play. And in tournament tennis, when you lose the first round, you have a long time to wait until you play the next match. It teaches you to focus, it teaches you to develop, and it teaches you leadership and supportive roles, which if you watch a World Team Tennis match, you see my philosophy on life. It's men and women on the same team working together. 2 of the young ones I'd like to point out, a couple of them are Madison Keys, who's playing for the San Diego Aviators this year. And she is absolutely a wonderful person. She played for the Freedoms actually when she was, I think, 15. So I've known her for a long time, and she's so fortunate to have Lindsay Davenport and John Leach, who are married, to have them helping her. She's one of the nicest people, but she's powerful. You have to be powerful today, usually to be the best. She loves to play, and her passion to play is going to carry her through. But she's one of the nicest people. I always cheer for the nice ones. I like kids who are nice to others when they come off the court, that they want to contribute and not just be a winner on the court. I want them to be champions in life, and that's who she is. Another young one you might enjoy that's playing for the San Diego Aviators is Taylor Fritz, who is the #1 junior in the world now. And he's learning how to play right now. And John Lloyd, he is hilarious. He's the coach of that team. But those 2 kids are I would say, really fun to watch. And I think you'd really enjoy them. And Fritz Taylor's mother is Kathy May, who played on the tour with Rosie and me, and he's a wonderful person. And his father is Guy Fritz, who also played some on the tour. So he comes from a lineage of tennis players.
So you've received the highest honor in the land, highest citizen's honor in the land, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. What has that meant to you? Because it's meant an awful lot to all your fans and supporters.
Well, in case you don't know what it is, it's the highest civilian award that you can get in the United States. And when I was told that I was going to receive the Medal of Freedom, I couldn't believe it. Although I know that Arthur Ashe had received it. It's probably, I think, the first tennis player. I think he received it posthumously, though, which made me sad. I wish Arthur were here today because he did win Wimbledon in 1975, and guess what? I won it too. We both won it the same year, and it was so great to dance with him at the Wimbledon ball. And we both wore our afros together, but his was real and mine was a perm. But I teased him when we were dancing about it. But the reason I wore my afro that year is that the media did not pick up on it because there was none of color who were there. But at that time, there was a big saying at the time, black is beautiful. And people of color were starting to believe in themselves and like themselves better, and I loved it. So that was my statement. But the media never caught on, but the people of color did. So I appreciate that they understood what I was doing. But to win the Medal of Freedom meant so much to me. I was the first woman athlete, and I also, because of the LGBT community, and he's the first president that's ever said LGBT or gay or anything, and I really thank him for that. But it was a special moment for me to be with the President of the United States and receive the Medal of Freedom. And my whole life passed in front of me because I really won that medal for everyone that had touched my life, from my parents to my brother, to my coaches, to my teachers, to the people who took a chance to promote our sport when it's a high-risk thing to do, to everyone who touched my life, to Reverend Bob Richards, who influenced my life, all the teachers I had in school that made a difference to me. So as I was receiving this award and they were talking about me, all I could think about is the only reason I'm there is because of everybody else, because you never do it alone. Relationships are everything, and I really knew then that all these people are the reason that I've had my life and will continue to have my life.
So you got to tour the new museum.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think the new museum, I was here before when you just added the WTA wing, I don't know, a few years ago. But it is fantastic, and it's a lot of interactive things, which is much better for the young people. That's what they like. It's really keeping up with the times. And all the new things and the way it's planned, and from the architecture point of view and the planning of it, walking through it, it's so exciting, and it has so much like Roger Federer's hologram. If you haven't been in it, you need to, and take your children. There's games for them, interactive things. It's amazing. I got to see Suzanne Lenglen, who was the first superstar in our sport, and who was my first super shero. I call women sheroes and men heroes. So you should see it. And I want to thank Ed and Peggy for your dear friendship to Ilana and me. And I cannot thank you enough to Chris. I want to thank you for the chair, I guess, of the board. And I want to wish Todd Martin good luck in his new position as CEO. I know you have a lot of wonderful ideas and vision for the International Hall of Fame, and so I hope most of your vision comes true. And thank you to the executive people who make the heavy decisions. And anyway, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it, because it does represent the entire world, the International Hall of Fame.
Thank you. One quickie on Nancy. Want to say something about Nancy?
Yeah, I'd love
Jeffett? Okay, one quickie.
And Dave.
And a dear friend of yours, Nancy Jeffett,
Yes.
is about to be inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. You want to
Yeah, I do.
talk
Thank
just
you.
a minute?
You remembered our script. No, we didn't know what we were going to say. We had no idea. I'm teasing. Nancy, where are you? There you are. Nancy Jeffett has been such a force, particularly in women's tennis. First of all, she's carried on the legacy of the great Marine Conley Brinker, who was the first woman ever to win all 4 majors in the same year, back in the early 50s. I had the privilege of hitting against Marine Conley when I was 15, and I'll never forget it. And I want to thank Nancy also for taking a huge risk back in 1972, I think. Started the Virginia Slims of Dallas as part of the Virginia Slims tour. And you have no idea, we had nothing. It was a blank piece of paper in 1970 when 9 of us signed a $1 contract. We had no infrastructure, we had nothing. And so people like Nancy Jeffett stepped up, believed in us, gave us an opportunity to play what we love, our sport of tennis, and actually make a livelihood, like I said earlier. And she has been such a force throughout. She's been involved with Fed Cup. She's given her life to our sport and the people in our sport. And I can't thank you enough, because I always remember you took a risk for us. And you know what? Very few people do that in a lifetime. So God bless you. Well done. Can I say something about Dave?
David Hall?
Yeah, Dave, I want to congratulate you for being inducted today. Brad, it's great to see you as well. We're a great sport because I call them the wheelies. Get to be a part of it, and we're lucky to have you. And I just want to congratulate you for all you've done and all you will continue probably to do. But winning the gold in Australia must have been so much fun for you. So congratulations, and we're very lucky to have you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Billie Jean King. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the first member of the class of 2015 is Amelie Mauresmo. As you know, Amelie cannot travel here today, and unfortunately she can't be with us, but she's having a baby very, very soon. Amelie's being inducted as part of the class of 2015 and will be honored here today by the president of the International Tennis Hall of Fame, Stan Smith. In honor of Amelie, would you please stand for the French national anthem?
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans les campagnes mugir ces féroces soldats? Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger nos fils, nos compagnes. Aux hommes citoyens, formez vos bataillons, marchons, marchons, qu'est-ce pour avoir nos sillons.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Stan Smith.
Thank you, Chris. That was great. I wish I hadn't slept through my French classes. You know, Omelee will be here next year, but we want to celebrate her this year as she's in the class of 2015. Descriptions of Omelee include powerful, elegant, efficient, aggressive, filled with finesse, a complete player. She was known for her powerful one-handed backhand. She could hit top, she could hit slice, she could drop shot. She had a remarkable net play, tactically strong and very smart. She held the #1 ranking for 39 weeks and was the first French player to be ranked #1 in the Open era. She won a silver at the 2004 Olympics in Athens, and in 2005, she won the WTA Tour Championships. 2006, she was a singles champion in Australia and Wimbledon, defeating Justine Henin. She was a finalist in 1999 in the Australian Open, where she was unseeded and scored upsets over three-seeded players, including Lindsay Davenport, to earn her spot in the final. In total, she won 25 singles titles and compiled a career singles record of 545 against 227 losses. Omelee is a dedicated member of the French Fed Cup team and holds the record for the most singles wins, and with an impressive 30-9 record. She helped the French team win the Fed Cup in 2003, and in 2012 she became the captain of the French Fed Cup team. Since her retirement, you may be aware that she's coaching a young player from England named Andy Murray. She has coached Michael Laudra, Victoria Azarenka, and Marion Bartoli. We are happy to have, Marion, by the way, is right there. We'd like to thank her for coming. That's terrific. When Emily was told of her inclusion in the 2015 class, she said, "It's an extraordinary honor to have my career celebrated alongside the greatest champions of our sport, people who I've admired so greatly all of my life." Well, Amelie, we're happy to celebrate with you here today. Thank you very much.
Now to speak on behalf of and help introduce and induct, I'm very pleased to ask Hall of Famer Pam Shriver to join me at the podium. Pam?
Thanks very much, Chris. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When I was called a few months ago and asked to present Nancy Jeffett today, the kids and I knew where our first stop of our summer vacation would be: Newport. Nancy Jeffett is most deserving of this honor, to be elected as a contributor and therefore today enshrined into the International Tennis Hall of Fame for a lifetime of wonderful tennis achievements and contributions. There are a few contributions I especially want to focus on and recognize as extraordinary and game-changing and have occurred for over a half a century. Nancy Jeffett is a lifetime contributor, earning today's induction because of her early risk-taking as a WTA promoter, even before there was a WTA. Her co-founding of the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation, now memorializing her great friend, Maureen Conley Brinker. Nancy's legacy today continues through the MCB Tennis Foundation that helps develop and supports junior tennis players worldwide. The event that touched my career the most was the Virginia Slims of Dallas. Nancy's willingness to risk being a WTA Tour tournament owner starting in the early years of women's professional tennis. The WTA Tour today, where players from 92 nations are competing for over $130 million in prize money and play for equality in all four major events, to Serena Williams leading all tennis players this year in prize money, is in no small part due to her groundbreaking work. And it was laid by a group of pioneering promoters over 40 years ago. This group was led by Nancy Jeffett. At the WTA Tour, Peachy Kellmeyer, Hall of Fame class of 2011, was an especially strong partner and friend to Nancy during all the years of the Virginia Slims of Dallas. Nancy's determined work over decades towards preserving the name and memory of her tennis partner and great friend, Maureen Conley Brinker, has been vital. Maureen was one of our greatest sports gems and winner of the first calendar year Grand Slam by a woman. Little Mo was USA's first tennis teenage phenom. My mom actually played Little Mo in San Diego about 70 years ago. My mom doesn't remember the name of the tournament, but she remembers the score. 6-love, 6-love. The Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation, created by Nancy in Little Mo's honor and with Maureen's help starting in 1968, and then was continued since on June 21st, 1969, the sad date of Maureen's passing. And today, it's still in Little Mo's memory. The foundation helps develop junior tennis players by encouraging the values of fair play and the joy of playing tennis and competing in tennis. The NCB Foundation also stages important competitive junior events that are held annually with style and fun, similar to how the Virginia Slims of Dallas was promoted. When I was 16 years of age, I played in the MCB Cup, the Maureen Conley Brinker Cup, USA versus Great Britain. And today we are good friends of a family in Los Angeles who just finished playing in a Little Mo event. I can't wait for my kids to play in a Little Mo event. The Virginia Slims of Dallas played in Moody Coliseum on the campus of Southern Methodist University, established itself as the most popular WTA indoor event of its time in the United States because of the great crowds and the amazing Nancy Jeffett style of hospitality and the connection to the Maureen Conley Brinker Tennis Foundation. She risked her own money, putting her money Texas style right where her mouth was, and it all worked wonderfully. Women's tennis players got to compete in one of America's great sporting and social cities, Dallas, and play before huge crowds, knowing that proceeds from the event would return to the MCB and be invested back into junior tennis development. In the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, playing in Dallas each spring was a highlight. In 1978, in the Virginia Slims of Dallas, for the first time as a 15-year-old amateur, it was just my third pro event. It was a special week for the tournament, as for the first time, I reached the semifinals alongside two other amateur players. Now Hall of Famer Tracy Austin, we were the same age, 15, and also Dallas's own Ann Smith, who was just a couple of years older and in high school. So what that meant was that Yvonne Goolagong-Collie was the only professional playing. So you know what that meant for the foundation? A lot more money back into the foundation so that they could develop more junior tennis players and more great events. That was my first time to Dallas. Obviously, Nancy Jeffett had an incredible amount of friends and family to help her put on all that she put on. And I especially want to thank my host family in Dallas for all those years. Lucy and Ralph Belknap and their daughters, Laura and Kate. Ralph, Laura, and Kate are here today, and I just want to apologize for my messy guest room for all those years I played in Dallas. Nancy relied on her extraordinary network of family and friends in assisting and accomplishing all that she quarterbacked. Her late husband and life partner, Frank Jeffett, was a true Texas gentleman. I can still see him in his tweed sport coat with his huge welcoming smile. Frank's pride and Nancy's work shine through each and every day. Their daughter, Sissy, is also a huge supporter of all things her mom has worked on in the sport of tennis, and her son, Dr. William Jeffett, an incredible professional in the art world, is here today, as well as her grandkids, Austin and Katie. Maureen's family and friends are here, including Brenda and Cindy, and just so many people from the two cities that mean so much to Nancy, Dallas and St. Louis. And as I begin to close and turn it over to Nancy, an event that I want to briefly mention was an event that Nancy chaired in 1965. It was a Davis Cup tie in Dallas, a team led by Arthur Ashe. Nancy's decision to play the Davis Cup tie in a public park where all people, black and white, could come see Arthur play. This move to a public facility foreshadowed the movement later by both tennis and golf to hold major events at public facilities, like the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Flushing, New York. Nancy made an everlasting contribution to the community of women's professional tennis by being a risk-taking innovator promoting women's professional tennis. Nancy is one of the most respected citizens in the global tennis community. Nancy was invited to join the All England Lawn Tennis Club, aka Wimbledon, as an honorary member, and Nancy was a longtime ITF Fed Cup chair and USTA volunteer. She deserves this not for a couple of outstanding contributions over a few years, but for an extraordinary commitment and a body of work to make women's tennis, pro tennis, junior tennis, and global tennis bigger, better, and stronger. Today, at the Hall of Fame in Newport, we come together in a circle to welcome with joy and gratitude Nancy Pierce Jeffett into the International Tennis Hall of Fame class of 2015. Thank you, Nancy.
There's not much more I can say. An awful lot has already been said. And I appreciate all of you being here today. I've had an extraordinary life with tennis, and I continue to, even though I can't walk these days. I'm planning on having a lot more influence on tennis, and it's been a real love of the game that has brought me to this situation. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and I love you. Take care.
Nancy, on behalf of the Board of Directors and the Executive Committee of the International Tennis Hall of Fame, it is my honor to present you this certificate, which signifies your induction into the Tennis Hall of Fame, July 18th, 2015. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sissy, you all right? Okay, all right. And now to honor our recent player inductee in the wheelchair tennis category, I'd like you to please stand for the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please be seated. To present David Hall, we're pleased to have with us David's longtime mentor, coach, best friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rich Berman.
Thank you, Chris. I can't tell you what a privilege and honor it is for me to be here today. I'd like to thank the Enshrinement Nomination Committee, Stan Smith, its chairman, and the other members today for their outstanding contributions to tennis. I meant to say the other inductees. I'm a little nervous, please excuse me. I want to invite you to go back in time with me. It is 1994, an icy cold, snowy day in Boulder, Colorado. The door slowly opens to my tennis school. It's David Hall barely pushing his wheelchair through the door. He is shaking, his eyes are bloodshot, his face is covered in icicles, and he is visibly exhausted. No wonder. He has just pushed his chair 4 miles through the snow to train with me. This is David Hall, the quiet champion. In the 12 years that followed, I could tell you of many more stories of his unfailing dedication to tennis. But please indulge me as I tell you just one more. It is a few weeks before the 1996 Paralympics. We had been working nonstop. However, while working out at the gym, David injured his arm so badly, the orthopedic surgeon that we saw insisted he should withdraw from the 96 games, since his ruptured bicep tendon could be a career-ending injury. That night after dinner, I sheepishly looked at David and sadly said, "Well, mate, it looks like we're going to have to sit this one out." David stared intensely at me and said, "I'm playing. My mates are counting on me, and so is Tennis Australia." I still remember this like it was yesterday. So I learned to wrap his arm, and it was PT every day until the games. David had to change his style of play to be more aggressive so he could end points quickly. And yes, as you imagined, he won. Bronze in singles and a silver in doubles. So here I am. The luckiest of coaches, introducing my friend and hero to you and to the Hall of Fame. Many champions have been here and many more will come, but none with a bigger heart. None who played the game harder. None fairer or more noble. And I have to say that in addition to the 3 times I was told I was a father, this moment is my proudest. David Hall, my mentor, 6-time world champion, gold medalist, 8-time US Open winner, devoted friend, wheelchair tennis ambassador, and I could go on and on. David, before I embarrass both of us anymore, come on up here. Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you so much to Rich. I'm crying already. I remember the first time I picked up a tennis racket. I was 12 years old. Now here I am, 33 years later, and I'm being inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Could I ever have imagined on that day, as a 12-year-old, that I would be here today? Honestly, no. In my journey, I've felt so many different emotions. The emotion I feel today is grateful. grateful that I've been given this incredible honour, and grateful that the people who helped me are here today to share in this moment. My mate Brownie was the first person I ever hit with. He was a fellow sports nut. We were at the tennis courts in Budgewoi, a small coastal town in Australia. The year was 1982, and the big guns at the time were Mats Wilander and Ivan Lendl. They were winning slams. My favourite was Lendl because I liked his topspin backhand, and Brownie was a Mats fan for his hang-in-there mentality and workman-like game. We would run around the courts pretending we were playing Grand Slam finals, copying our heroes. I'd pretend to dry my racket with sawdust, just like Lendl, and Brownie would give me the Vic salute that Mats would do after he won a point. I remember those days like they were yesterday. They were so much fun that nothing outside that tennis court seemed to matter. We were free, laughing and carrying on. And that's where my love of tennis began. I had another beginning of sorts years later as a teenager. I thought the hitchhiking accident, which cost me my legs and almost my life, had robbed me of tennis. But I was wrong. After reading in a local newspaper about Terry Mason, a wheelchair tennis player, I was intrigued and hopeful. If this guy can play tennis from a wheelchair, well then maybe I can too. My first time on court with him seemed more challenging than fun. I was slow and hit the back fence more times than I can count, but it stoked something inside me which would drive me for years to come. Through those early days, after my accident, tennis was like a long-lost friend who would come back to me. Through all the turmoil my life had become, tennis was giving me comfort, something to look forward to. It was opening doors for me I never knew existed. It was sending me places I'd never been and giving me chances to meet people I would never have met. It was creating structure in a world that had none. As the wheelchair tennis tour took off, I knew deep down that I had to ride this wave. I had to at least give myself a chance to see where it could take me. I had to be all in. Tennis was giving me this opportunity, and if I didn't grasp it with everything I had, I didn't want to regret it later on. My first overseas tournament was the Japan Open, a wonderful mix of new experiences and old world charm. I saw the final of that tournament. Randy Snow and Laurent Giamartini were playing at a level that inspired me. The shots, the rallies, the drama, the crowd cheering. I wanted what they had. I wanted to be them. My first US Open at the Racket Club of Irvine, the place where the history of the sport was unfolding before my very eyes. It gave me more inspiration, meeting Brad Parks, the founder of our sport. His words, his encouragement spurred me on. Tennis was giving me dreams that at the time seemed so far away, but yet a remote possibility. The dream to be number one, the dream to win the US Open, and the dream to win a gold medal for Australia. I moved to Boulder, Colorado, and although I didn't know it at the time, it turned out to be the best move I ever made. Maybe it was meant to be. Maybe it was meant to be, or written in the stars. Whatever it was, it changed the course of my life. I met Rich Berman. He was a tennis coach, but to me, he was much more than that. He was generous, he was kind, and he sacrificed so much to help me chase my dreams. He embraced me and brought me into his home, made me feel welcome. The Bermans became my Boulder family. Lynn and our movie nights, wrestling on the floor with Laura, talking music with Brett, or basketball with Ryan, and Miss Ellie and her Lamington cake. I'll always cherish those moments. Rich would offer encouragement, advice, and do it all with a sense of humour that took a while to get used to. He would sing in the car on the way to practice, out of tune, I might add. I would teach him Australian slang like "don't come the raw prawn with me" and "fair sucker the sav," which are phrases I barely understand. Rich would say, "Okay, it's time to do some pushing." So I'd push my chair to the end of Willow Creek Drive, the street where he lived, past the dog that wanted to go me. I'd reach the end of the street and I'd look over to the snow-capped Rocky Mountains and allow myself to dream what it would be like to win the US Open. Rich always knew the right thing to say. As I'm waiting in the change rooms before the gold medal match at the Sydney Paralympics, the biggest match of my life, he said to me, "No matter what happens out there, I'm proud of you." He changed the course of my career and changed my life, and for that, I'll be forever grateful. As we all know, behind every man is a better woman. For me, that was Leslie. I'll be the first to admit she is smarter and better looking than I. She rode the roller coaster with me through all the twists and the turns. She would be the first to kiss me after a win and console me after a loss. She would wish on a star in the night sky that I'd win that gold medal in Sydney and fill my tennis bag with good luck charms. I confided in her all my fears and doubts. I confided in her all my fears and doubts, and she supported me every step of the way. I would not be here without her. Tennis has given me more than I could ever repay. It took me in directions I never imagined. Tea with our Prime Minister, hitting balls with the Prince of Brunei, and meeting movie stars in Monaco. It took me to faraway lands, forging friendships, and experiencing different cultures. It gave me a purpose, a direction. It filled me up when I needed it and rewarded me with great joy when I worked for it. I never dreamed I could be as successful as I was, and when people recite my career stats, I still find it hard to comprehend. I had goals and worked as hard as I could to reach them. I don't think of myself as special or extraordinary. I'm just a kid from Budgewoi who loved to hit balls, that was blessed to be surrounded by great people. Finally, to Mum, Dad, and Kristen, I'm lucky to have you, I love you, and I couldn't have done this without you. Congrats to Amelie and Nancy, and thank you to the International Tennis Hall of Fame for this tremendous honour.
There we go. David, on behalf of the Board of Directors and the Executive Committee of the International Tennis Hall of Fame, please accept this certificate, which signifies your induction on July 15th, 2015. Congratulations. So Amelie, Nancy, and David, you've now received the highest honor in the game of tennis. In acknowledgement of these accomplishments, both on and off the court, I'd like to ask each of you and each of our Hall of Famers to follow the class of 2015 in commemoration of their accomplishments for their victory lap around the center court. Please.